Good morning, friends. Have you ever wondered why many older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, thinking about life, about memories, or just about the world? This is not just insomnia. This is life whispering to them in the quietest hours of the night. You see, sleep is more than a physical rest. It's a reflection of the body, mind, and heart. And as we grow older, several things change inside us, our bodies, our rhythms, and our emotions. First, our body clock, which we call the circadian rhythm, starts to shift. The sun sets, the night falls, and while younger people are deep in dreams, older adults' bodies are naturally waking up. It is the body's way of saying, I am still alive, still aware, still reflecting. Second, life accumulates story. Memories, joys, regrets, all these replay in the silence of the night. The quiet of 3 a.m. offers no distractions. And suddenly, our hearts feel the weight of the unspoken words, the unfinished dreams. Third, our health changes. Blood pressure, sugar levels, and hormones, they all have a rhythm. Sometimes the body wakes not out of fear or habit, but to adjust, to heal, to reset. Fourth, older adults are often more spiritual. This is the hour of reflection, of prayer, of connection to something beyond the visible world. Some call it meditation. Some call it divine conversation. Fifth, stress and anxiety can be more pronounced in the evening. Our minds work overtime thinking about the past or the future. And when the world is asleep, the mind cannot sleep. Sixth, habits built over decades show up. Late night tea, light snacks, watching TV, small habits affect sleep patterns as we age. Seventh, loneliness plays its part. Sometimes being awake at 3 a.m. is a gentle reminder. You are human. You seek connection, love, and understanding. Eighth, older adults are more sensitive to environmental cues, light, sound, temperature. Even a slight noise or change in room temperature can wake them up. Ninth, the body simply becomes more efficient. Older adults don't need as much sleep as they once did. The rest comes in shorter, deeper moments rather than long stretches. Finally, waking up at 3 a.m. is an invitation to reflect, to feel gratitude, to pray, to make peace with the past, and to dream about the future. It is not a curse. It is life's gentle nudge to remind us that each moment, each breath, and each heartbeat is precious. So, my friends, the next time you wake up in the middle of the night, don't curse it. Sit quietly, listen, reflect, and let life speak to you in that sacred silence. Have you ever noticed how as we grow older, our sleep changes? The nights we once spent deep, uninterrupted slumber now seem to shorten, and somehow we find ourselves wide awake at hours when the world is silent, particularly around 3 a.m. This is not just coincidence or bad luck. It is the body speaking to us in a language we often overlook. It is the shift in our circadian rhythm, our internal body clock, guiding us in ways we do not always understand. When we are young, our body has a remarkable ability to adjust to external cues. The sun rises and we wake. The sun sets and we sleep. Life is simple in its rhythm. But as the years pass, our body clock begins to subtly change. This internal timekeeper, which governs not only our sleep, but also hormone production, body temperature, and alertness, starts to run on a slightly different schedule. The deep, long stretches of night that were once our refuge begin to fragment. And that is why often older adults find themselves awake in the stillness of early morning. It is fascinating because our body is not malfunctioning. It is evolving. The circadian rhythm shifts forward, meaning that the natural signals for sleep come earlier in the evening, and the signals for waking arrive earlier in the morning. The body is essentially whispering, I am ready to start the day before the sun. And while the world is still immersed in dreams, those who have lived a life full of experiences find themselves in a rare sacred silence at time when the mind can wander freely, when thoughts flow without interruption, and when the soul has room to breathe. Interestingly, this shift is also connected to hormonal changes. Melatonin, the hormone responsible for signaling sleep, begins its release earlier in the evening and declines sooner in the morning. This means the body feels sleepy earlier and wakes earlier, long before the alarm clock rings. Simultaneously, cortisol, which helps the body wake and stay alert, starts to rise earlier as well. It is as if the body is trying to prepare for the day in a gentle, natural way. But in the quiet hours of 3 a.m., before the external world has caught up, it can feel confusing, even frustrating. This rhythm shift also teaches us something profound about life itself. Just as our body clock changes with age, our perspective, our priorities, and our understanding of the world change as we grow old. There is a beauty in this early awakening because it is a reminder that we are alive, aware, and capable of reflection. The body is no longer just a vessel that moves through the day without thought. It is a companion guiding us to moments of stillness and introspection. Those 3 a.m. awakenings are not interruptions but invitations to listen to our inner voice, to recall memories, to plan thoughtfully, or to simply sit quietly and exist without distraction. Many people struggle with this and try to fight it, tossing and turning, feeling restless. But those who learn to understand the circadian rhythm discover a hidden treasure. They realize that life's pace is not dictated by clocks, deadlines, or the noise around them. Instead, it is dictated by the gentle wisdom of the body that knows when to rest and when to awaken, when to reflect, and when to act. In that early morning stillness, there is clarity, there is peace, and there is a subtle reminder that age does not take away vitality. It changes the rhythm of how we experience it. So the next time someone wakes up at 3 a.m., instead of frustration, there's an opportunity to honor the body's natural rhythm. It is a signal, a gentle nudge from life itself, teaching that with age comes awareness, with silence comes reflection, and with early mornings comes the quiet power of a body and mind in harmony with nature. As we grow older, life becomes a collection of moments, memories, joys, regrets, achievements, and losses. Every year of experience and every experience leaves an imprint on the heart. When younger, we are so busy chasing dreams, meeting deadlines, and running through routines that there is little time to pause. Sleep comes easily because the mind is exhausted from constant activity. But as we age, the quiet hours of the night, especially around 3 a.m., provide an unexpected opportunity for reflection. Suddenly, we wake in the silence and our mind begins to wander, not out of restlessness, but as if life itself is asking us to revisit the chapters we once hurried through. It is at this hour that memories come alive. Childhood laughter, teenage fears, first loves, broken friendships, the joy of achievements, and even the pang of regrets all start to replay like a gentle movie. The mind, free from daytime distractions, can wander through time effortlessly. The quiet doesn't demand anything from us. It simply allows our inner world to speak, and sometimes this reflection feels like a flood. The mind is not just remembering. It is trying to make sense of the journey, to reconcile the past with the present, and perhaps to prepare us for what is yet to come. This reflection is not always easy. Some memories bring warmth, laughter, and gratitude, while others may bring sorrow or regret. But every memory has a purpose. This combination creates a natural imbalance. The body is ready to awaken while the mind may still crave the deep, uninterrupted rest it once enjoyed. It is fascinating to realize that what may feel like insomnia is, in fact, the body's way of staying aligned with its own needs. Every rise and fall in hormones, every shift in blood pressure is a small miracle of biology, showing that life continues to flow, even when we are not fully conscious of it. The digestive system also plays a quiet role. Meals eaten too late, fluids consumed close to bedtime, or even mild discomfort can cause subtle awakenings. As the body ages, digestion slows, and these minor signals can become more pronounced. It is another way our body communicates with us, an opportunity to pause, reflect on lifestyle, and gently adjust habits to maintain harmony. Even something as simple as a glass of water at night can create a ripple that wakes us from a light sleep, reminding us that the body's rhythms are delicate and precise. But beyond the physical mechanisms, there is a deeper lesson hidden in these awakenings. The body is reminding us that health is not just the absence of illness, it is an ongoing conversation. Each night spent awake at 3 a.m. is a chance to listen carefully to what the body is telling us. Perhaps it is asking for gentler movement during the day, more mindful eating, or a deeper attention to rest. It is an invitation to practice gratitude for the intricate systems that continue to function flawlessly, even as we age. What is beautiful about this rhythm is that it aligns with life itself. Just as our bodies rise and fall with their own cycles, life too has its own natural patterns, moments of activity and moments of rest, times of challenge and times of ease. Learning to respect the body's health rhythms is a subtle but profound lesson in living consciously. Those awakenings at 3 a.m., rather than being frustrating interruptions, are gentle reminders that our health is alive, responsive, and speaking. They teach us patience, attention, and reverence for the body that carries us through each day. So, when we find ourselves awake at this hour, it is not a curse or a failing. It is the body's quiet wisdom speaking, urging us to honor its rhythms, to listen, and to care for ourselves with awareness. It is in this stillness that we can learn to truly understand the intricate, miraculous ways our health sustains us hour by hour, heartbeat by heartbeat. There is something extraordinary about the early hours of the morning, especially around 3 a.m., that seems to touch the soul in ways the day never can. For many older adults, waking at this hour is not just a physical or mental phenomenon, it is a spiritual awakening. It is as if the world has fallen asleep, leaving the heart and mind in a sacred, quiet space where the whispers of life, the universe, or the divine can finally be heard. In these moments, the busyness of the world fades, and there is nothing left but stillness, a stillness that invites reflection, prayer, meditation, and a deep connection to something greater than ourselves. Throughout life, as we grow older, we accumulate experiences, achievements, regrets, and responsibilities. The weight of these experiences can make it difficult to pause during the day. But at 3 a.m., when the world is silent and external distractions are absent, the mind naturally drifts inward. This is a time when questions arise, not about work or deadlines or material concerns, but about meaning, purpose, and legacy. What have I done with my life? Who have I impacted? What matters most in this fleeting journey? These questions may not have bothered us in our youth, but as we age, they merge with a gentle insistence, inviting contemplation and spiritual exploration. For some, this spiritual awakening takes the form of prayer. It is a moment to speak quietly to the divine, to express gratitude for life's blessings, to seek forgiveness for mistakes, or to ask for strength for the days ahead. For others, it is meditation, a deep inward focus where thoughts are observed without judgment, and the soul experiences a rare sense of calm and clarity. In both cases, the body may be awake at 3 a.m., but the spirit is alert, receptive, and fully engaged in a dialogue that transcends the physical world. Interestingly, this hour has been revered across cultures for centuries. Many spiritual traditions recognize the early morning as a sacred time, a period when the mind is most still and the heart most open. The absence of noise, the gentle darkness, and the calm of a sleeping world create a perfect environment for introspection. For older adults, this natural rhythm seems even more pronounced, as if life itself has guided them toward these moments of quiet enlightenment. It is not an accidental occurrence. It is the culmination of a lifetime of growth, awareness, and readiness to engage with something beyond the surface of daily existence. This spiritual awakening is not only about seeking answers, but also about fostering a sense of peace and acceptance. In these quiet hours, worries and anxieties are often replaced by a feeling of connection to life, to the universe, and to oneself. It is a reminder that there is a larger plan at work, a rhythm to life that continues even when we cannot see it. Old adults, having experienced the highs and lows of existence, often find solace in these moments, understanding that their journey is part of something far greater than any single day or event. Moreover, this period encourages reflection on relationships and priorities. It is a time to silently assess how we have treated others, to nurture gratitude for loved ones, and to consider the ways in which we can leave a positive mark on the world. It is in this stillness that the heart softens, the mind clears, and the spirit grows stronger. Waking at 3 a.m. then is not a disruption of sleep. It is a gentle invitation to engage with the deeper, unseen aspects of life that truly matter. Ultimately, these early morning awakenings teach an invaluable lesson, that the spiritual journey does not happen only in grand gestures or dramatic moments, but often in the quiet, unobserved spaces between wakefulness and sleep. They remind us that true connection, clarity, and purpose arise in stillness, and that life's greatest insights often come when the world is asleep and the soul is awake. One of the most common reasons older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m. is stress and anxiety, though it often comes in a subtle, almost invisible form. During the day, life keeps us busy. Responsibilities, tasks, and routines demand our attention, and the mind is occupied with endless decisions, both big and small. But at night, When the world falls silent and there is nothing to distract us, the mind suddenly finds the space it needs to replay worries, uncertainties, and unspoken fears. Stress and anxiety, which may have been hidden under the weight of daily activity, rise to the surface in the quiet hours of the morning. At 3 a.m., thoughts that were manageable during the day can seem magnified. Concerns about family, health, finances, or personal achievements begin to swirl in the mind like a restless wind. Even small unresolved issues, things that seemed insignificant during daylight hours, can suddenly feel heavy and urgent. The mind, free from external distractions, becomes a theater where memories, emotions, and possibilities all play out simultaneously. For older adults who have lived through decades of experiences, this internal theater can be especially vivid. Years of accumulated worries, lessons, and reflections often converge in these early morning hours, demanding attention. It is important to understand that this is not a sign of weakness or failure. Rather, it is a natural response of the human mind trying to process life's complexities. The brain never truly rests. It is always scanning, analyzing, and attempting to solve problems. During sleep, the mind continues this work subconsciously. However, when stress and anxiety are particularly strong, this processing can interrupt deep sleep, waking the individual and leaving them alert at an hour when the world is still resting. Interestingly, these early morning awakenings can also serve as a mirror for self-awareness. They reveal where the mind is focused, which worries dominate our thinking, and what unresolved feelings or concerns might need attention. It is an opportunity, though it may feel uncomfortable at the time, to confront the emotional landscape of life. By gently acknowledging these feelings rather than resisting them, older adults can begin to understand themselves more deeply. They can recognize patterns of thought, recurring fears, and the ways in which anxiety has subtly influenced decisions over the years. Moreover, stress and anxiety in the early morning hours remind us of the importance of balance. Life is not only about action and accomplishment. It is also about pause, reflection, and self-care. By learning to manage stress through meditation, deep breathing, journaling, or prayer, one can gradually reduce the intensity of these awakenings. The mind, which once raced with worries, can find peace and clarity in the stillness. These moments of wakefulness become not just a symptom of anxiety, but a gentle invitation to develop resilience, mindfulness, and inner strength. There is also a profound lesson in understanding that stress and anxiety are part of the human experience. No life is without challenges, and no mind is free from worry entirely. What matters is how we respond. Early morning wakefulness offers a unique window of time, free from distractions, where one can observe thoughts objectively, gain perspective, and reconnect with priorities. In this quiet space, gratitude for what is present can emerge alongside a plan for what is to come, transforming restlessness into reflection. Ultimately, waking at 3 a.m. due to stress and anxiety is not a punishment. It is a signal from the mind and body gently asking for attention, awareness, and care. By embracing this wakefulness with patience and understanding, older adults can turn what feels like an interruption into a gift, a time to listen, learn, and grow, even in the stillness of the night. One of the most common reasons older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m. is stress and anxiety, though it often comes in a subtle, almost invisible form. During the day, life keeps us busy. Responsibilities, tasks, and routines demand our attention, and the mind is occupied with endless decisions, both big and small. But at night, when the world falls silent and there is nothing to distract us, the mind suddenly finds the space it needs to replay worries, uncertainties, and unspoken fears. Stress and anxiety, which may have been hidden under the weight of daily activity, rise to the surface in the quiet hours of the morning. At 3 a.m., thoughts that were manageable during the day can seem magnified. Concerns about family, health, finances, or personal achievements begin to swirl in the mind like a restless wind. Even small unresolved issues, things that seemed insignificant during daylight hours, can suddenly feel heavy and urgent. The mind, free from external distractions, becomes a theater where memories, emotions, and possibilities all play out simultaneously. For older adults who have lived through decades of experiences, this internal theater can be especially vivid. Years of accumulated worries, lessons, and reflections often converge in these early morning hours, demanding attention. It is important to understand that this is not a sign of weakness or failure. Rather, it is a natural response of the human mind trying to process life's complexities. The brain never truly rests. It is always scanning, analyzing, and attempting to solve problems. During sleep, the mind continues this work subconsciously. However, when stress and anxiety are particularly strong, this processing can interrupt deep sleep, waking the individual and leaving them alert at an hour when the world is still resting. Interestingly, these early morning awakenings can also serve as a mirror for self-awareness. They reveal where the mind is focused, which worries dominate our thinking, and what unresolved feelings or concerns might need attention. It is an opportunity, though it may feel uncomfortable at the time, to confront the emotional landscape of life. By gently acknowledging these feelings rather than resisting them, older adults can begin to understand themselves more deeply. They can recognize patterns of thought, recurring fears, and the ways in which anxiety has subtly influenced decisions over the years. Moreover, stress and anxiety in the early morning hours remind us of the importance of balance. Life is not only about action and accomplishment, it is also about pause, reflection, and self-care. By learning to manage stress through meditation, deep breathing, journaling, or prayer, one can gradually reduce the intensity of these awakenings. The mind, which once raced with worries, can find peace and clarity in the stillness. These moments of wakefulness become not just a symptom of anxiety, but a gentle invitation to develop resilience, mindfulness, and inner strength. There is also a profound lesson in understanding that stress and anxiety are part of the human experience. No life is without challenges, and no mind is free from worry entirely. What matters is how we respond. Early morning wakefulness offers a unique window of time, free from distractions, where one can observe thoughts objectively, gain perspective, and reconnect with priorities. In this quiet space, gratitude for what is present can emerge alongside a plan for what is to come, transforming restlessness into reflection. Ultimately, waking at 3 a.m. due to stress and anxiety is not a punishment. It is a signal from the mind and body gently asking for attention, awareness, and care. By embracing this wakefulness with patience and understanding, older adults can turn what feels like an interruption into a gift, a time to listen, learn, and grow, even in the stillness of the night. As we grow older, the routines and habits we have built over decades begin to reveal their subtle influence on our sleep. Many older adults find themselves awake at 3 a.m., not because of illness or worry alone, but because of illness or worry alone, but because of the small, seemingly insignificant behaviors that have accumulated over time. Habits are like footprints in our daily life. They may be easy to overlook, but over years, they shape how our body and mind function. What we eat, when we eat, how much we move, even the timing of small pleasures like tea, coffee, or television, all create patterns that affect our sleep rhythm in ways we might not immediately recognize. Take, for example, a habit as simple as enjoying a late night snack or a cup of tea in the evening. At first, it seems harmless, even comforting. But over the years, these small choices can subtly signal the body to stay alert later into the night. The caffeine, sugar, or even the act of eating can cause minor disruptions in digestion or metabolism, gently nudging the body into wakefulness in the early morning hours. Likewise, staying up late to watch television or read for pleasure can condition the mind to be active at times when it should ideally be winding down. The body becomes accustomed to a rhythm that does not align perfectly with the natural sleep cycle, and as a result, wakefulness at 3 a.m. becomes more frequent. These habits are not inherently wrong. They are simply patterns that the body and mind have learned over time. What is fascinating is how the body adapts to them, sometimes in unexpected ways. An older adult who has spent decades drinking tea at 9 p.m. may suddenly notice that waking at 3 a.m. feels almost automatic, as if the body has internalized the timing. Similarly, small evening routines that were once enjoyable can subtly prime the mind to remain alert, creating a bridge between comfort and wakefulness that becomes particularly pronounced with age. It is also important to recognize that habits extend beyond the physical into the mental and emotional realm. Patterns of thought, daily routines, and even the ways we handle stress are habits in their own right. If the mind has been conditioned to worry before bed, to replay daily events, or to engage in mental planning for the next day, these behaviors too become part of the rhythm that leads to early morning awakenings. The body and mind are intricately connected, and habits in one domain inevitably influence the other. Over time, the combination of physical routines and mental patterns creates a powerful influence on when and how we sleep. The beauty of understanding this is that habits, though deeply ingrained, can also be adjusted. Awareness is the first step. By observing the subtle patterns in our daily lives, older adults can begin to gently shift routines that no longer serve their well-being. Small changes, such as adjusting evening meals, reducing caffeine intake, or creating a calming pre-sleep ritual, can gradually help align the body with a more restful night. Similarly, mental habits can be guided through mindfulness, meditation, or journaling, reducing the mind's tendency to stay active at 3 a.m. Ultimately, these accumulated habits are a reflection of a life lived fully, with routines that brought comfort, joy, and structure. The challenge is not to eliminate them, but to gently recalibrate them in harmony with the body's evolving needs. Waking at 3 a.m. then becomes less a nuisance and more an opportunity to observe the interplay between long-held habits and present well-being. It is a moment to appreciate the rhythms we have created, to understand their impact, and to make conscious choices that nurture both body and mind. It is life's subtle reminder that we are inherently social creatures, that connection matters, and that even in solitude, there is opportunity for growth, reflection, and love. The stillness of the early morning, though tinged with longing, holds within it the chance to nurture the heart, to honor relationships, and to embrace the profound human need for connection. As we grow older, our senses seem to sharpen in ways we may not fully realize. Waking up at 3 a.m. is often influenced not just by the mind or body, but by a heightened sensitivity to the environment. The room, once taken for granted, becomes a dynamic landscape. Every sound, light, or temperature shift is noticed, sometimes subtly, sometimes sharply. A distant car engine, the creak of a floorboard, the faint hum of an appliance, even the softest glow from a street lamp outside the window can stir the mind and pull the body from deep sleep. It is as if the world, even in its quiet, is whispering to us, and our senses, honed over decades, are finally listening. This heightened sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a testament to the body's awareness. As we age, the nervous system becomes more attuned to subtle changes, perhaps as a protective mechanism. The body is alert to ensure safety and well-being, scanning the environment constantly. In the early hours of the morning, when external noise is minimal and the world seems paused, these small stimuli are amplified. What a young adult might sleep through, an older adult notices and reacts to, sometimes wakingfully. Even the slightest change in room temperature, a draft, a cooler night breeze, or a heavier blanket can be enough to stir the body, signaling that attention is required. Light is another powerful factor. The body's internal clock is influenced by light exposure, and as vision changes with age, older adults may become more sensitive to subtle illumination. Moonlight streaming through curtains, a digital clock's glow, or even the faint reflection of streetlights can signal the brain that it is time to awaken. Similarly, sounds that were once background noise, such as a distant dog barking or the hum of an air conditioner, can feel startling in the stillness of the night. The environment in these moments speaks in whispers that the body has learned to interpret and respond to with precision. Interestingly, this sensitivity also highlights a profound lesson about awareness. It reminds us that life is experienced not only through grand events or dramatic moments, but through subtle details, small cues, and tiny shifts that we often overlook. Just as the body notices the smallest changes in the environment, our minds and hearts are capable of perceiving the quiet signals of life. A gentle gesture from a loved one, a kind word, or the beauty of a sunrise. The heightened awareness that causes wakefulness at 3 a.m. is in many ways a reminder of how finely tuned our perception can be and how attentively we are capable of living. This sensitivity to the environment can also teach mindfulness. By observing the factors that disrupt sleep, older adults can take small but meaningful steps to create a more harmonious space. Adjusting lighting, controlling room temperature, minimizing noise, or choosing calming scents can help align the external world with the body's internal rhythms. But more than that, it invites a larger reflection. Life, much like our environment, is composed of countless small details, each contributing to the larger experience. When we learn to notice them, we live more consciously, more peacefully, and more fully. There is a poetic element to this heightened awareness. Waking at 3 a.m., feeling every subtle shift in the environment, is a reminder that the body, mind, and spirit remain deeply alive and perceptive. It is proof that even in sleep, the senses are awake, the awareness is present, and life continues to be experienced in all its nuances. Rather than viewing these awakenings as interruptions, they can be embraced as opportunities to observe, to feel, and to connect with the world in its quiet, intricate beauty. Ultimately, to the environment is not a nuisance, it is a gift. It teaches attentiveness, encourages mindfulness, and reminds us that life is always present, always speaking, and always offering lessons in even the smallest details. The early morning stillness, once considered a disruption, becomes a canvas for awareness, reflection, and deep appreciation of life's subtle rhythms. As we grow older, one of the most fascinating changes in our sleep patterns is not a deficit, but a transformation in how our body rests. Waking up at 3 a.m. can often be traced to the natural efficiency of sleep in older adults. When we are young, sleep tends to be longer and lighter, often punctuated with periods of restlessness, vivid dreams, and frequent movements. But as we age, the body learns to accomplish more in less time. Sleep becomes shorter, deeper, and more restorative, meaning that even a few hours can provide the rest that once required an entire night. This efficiency, however, can sometimes lead to earlier awakenings, such as those experienced at 3 a.m. This shift is not a sign of weakness or a failure of the body. It is a remarkable adaptation. The older adult's body has become skilled at resting in concentrated blocks of time, allowing essential processes such as tissue repair, memory consolidation, and energy restoration to occur more effectively. The sleep cycles may be fewer in number but more potent in quality, making it possible to awaken feeling refreshed after a shorter duration. In this way, waking at 3 a.m. is often the natural conclusion of a night's work done efficiently, rather than an incomplete or interrupted sleep. The efficiency of sleep also reflects the wisdom of the body. Over decades of experience, the body has fine-tuned its rhythms, learning precisely how to allocate deep and light sleep stages. Whereas younger adults may require prolonged hours to achieve the same restorative effect, older adults accomplish it more quickly. This efficiency can paradoxically make wakefulness in the early hours feel sudden or even unexpected. The mind, having completed its necessary rest, becomes alert while the environment outside remains dark and quiet, leading to the familiar 3 a.m. awakenings. Interestingly, this change in sleep efficiency also mirrors broader life lessons. Just as the body can achieve more in fewer hours, life too teaches us that quality often outweighs quantity. Meaningful work, deep relationships, and profound experiences do not always require long stretches of time. They require focused presence and intention. In this sense, the body's sleep efficiency is a reminder that life is not measured merely in duration, but in depth, richness, and vitality. Waking at 3 a.m. becomes a metaphor. Even when the night seems long, the body has done what it needed to do efficiently, leaving the mind free to reflect, plan, or simply exist. Another fascinating aspect is the adaptability that comes with age. The older adult's body is less rigid, more responsive, and more capable of balancing rest and wakefulness. Even if external factors or small disturbances occur during the night, the body's efficient sleep patterns allow it to recover quickly, ensuring that the mind and body remain alert and functional during the day. This adaptability highlights a subtle form of resilience, proof that the body is not in decline but in transformation, learning to operate smarter, not necessarily longer. In embracing this efficiency, older adults can also develop a new relationship with their wakefulness. Rather than resisting it or feeling frustrated, they can view early morning awakenings as an opportunity. The mind is rested, the body is rejuvenated, and the world is quiet. A perfect combination for reflection, gratitude, or mindful activity. By answering this gentle invitation, older adults can transform what seems like a disruption into a sacred ritual, a time to observe, appreciate, and engage with life on a deeper level. In those quiet hours, the mind is awake, the heart is open, and life itself feels vibrant and alive.